Hi Anna, brilliant work submitting some more writing for us to look at. It's a really good step towards improving your English, so well done. So your first one was to write a letter to a friend and to explain why you resigned from your previous job, describe your new work, and tell him or her other updates regarding your life. Okay. So, you have written a letter, which is great. If we look at the first part, this one, so we've got Dear Salam, and then we've got an exclamation mark. Now, what I would say here is that if you are writing a letter to a friend, Dear Salam would be fine, but we'd have to follow it with a comma, like we normally do. On the contrary, because you are writing to a friend, you could go a bit more informal here and write something like Hi Salam or Hey Salam. Okay, because they're a friend of yours. Okay. Good. So I hope this letter finds you well. I haven't heard from you in a while, so I've decided to write you a letter and tell you about my job. Okay, well done. Good. Okay. I would say you've got letter here and here. The rest of the sentence is brilliant, so no problems there at all. But I would say, to avoid repeating letter, I would say, so I have decided to write to you and tell you about my new job. Okay, but that's really the only thing that I would change, and that's just to avoid repeating letter more than once. But yeah, well done. So you probably remember how much I've always loved computers, right? Good, well done. So a nice informal rhetorical question there. Sadly, my last position wasn't computer related at all, and after doing the same work for 5 consecutive years without a promotion, I felt unappreciated and frustrated. Brilliant, well done. Therefore, I went to a job interview at a startup company that develops new medical software, and was hired for a data analyst position. Well done. Fantastic. Again, really accurate there. No problems at all. The only thing I would take out is that in front of new medical software. But otherwise, no other problems. Well done. My current job is to analyse information regarding adverse drug effects in patients that are prescribed a particular drug called warfarin. Good. Our company's goal is to develop an algorithm for accurate drug levels monitoring. Okay, so I would say here an algorithm for accurately monitoring drug levels and to find a correlation to the adverse effects of this substance. I use the most sophisticated softwares which help me analyse all the data we gather about our patients. Okay, I would take out that comma there as well and just have it as one continuous sentence. I find this work to be extremely interesting and meaningful. Great, well done. Really good. Again, really high level of accuracy. Brilliant. As for my other news, we recently moved to a new neighbourhood in Tel Aviv, to a bigger apartment. Good. You should come visit us if you have free time. Ruth, my daughter, is already 6 years old. She's going to school next year. Good. We're really excited about this. Please tell me how you have been these past months. Is anything new with you? Also, kindly say hello to Fadi for me. Okay. Good. From me, sorry. Yeah, good. I would take out kindly. Okay, just because kindly is normally a little bit more formal. So I would take that out and also say hello. Is a bit more natural when writing to a friend. I would say I really look forward to hearing from you soon. Okay, sincerely yours, Anna. Okay, now, sincerely yours, again, is slightly formal because we'd normally say yours sincerely. So I would probably just write yours at the end. Okay, or you could even go one step further and say something like, take care, Anna. Okay, because it's a friend, we can be a lot more lenient with our signing off of letters, which is to friends, and we could often say things like best wishes, take care, yours, just on its own. So you can be a little bit more flexible with those. But a great piece of writing. Very well done. There were few bits that we needed to change there. You did everything that you should have done. You kept it nice and friendly, so as if you were writing to a friend. So yeah, fantastic. I would say a very good piece of writing. Well done. Let's go on to your next bit then, which obviously is completely different to the last one because it's a essay this time. So, these days more and more people are travelling domestically or internationally. There are clearly many benefits to it, but there are some who argue that it has also some drawbacks. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of travelling. Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. So, let's look at your introduction. Although the increased tendency of people to travel locally and internationally is often thought to be positive, other people believe it can also be detrimental. Clearly, there are benefits from travelling in terms of bringing happiness to life and elevating tourism rates. However, there are also few drawbacks to be considered. Okay, this essay will analyse both sides of travelling. Okay, so, good. Well done. A strong introduction there. Well done. Let's look at it more closely. Although the increased tendency of people to travel locally and internationally is often thought to be positive, I would say here, some believe it can also be detrimental. Okay, clearly there are benefits. Clearly there are benefits from travelling in terms of bringing happiness to life and elevating tourism rates. Okay, good. So full stop after that one is a good sentence. Bringing happiness to life and elevating tourism rates, full stop. However, capital H, comma, there are also a few drawbacks. Okay, there is a difference between saying a few and few. If we say few without a, it means not many. And if we say a few, it means some. Okay, and we don't want to say there are not many drawbacks to be considered. We want to say that there are some drawbacks to be considered. Okay, this essay will analyse both sides of travelling. Okay. Yeah, okay, so this essay will analyse both sides of travelling. I would just add a little bit extra to that last sentence and say using examples. Okay. Or using possibly using evidence, although I think using examples would be more apt at this point. So, firstly, one of the main criteria of people's joy and life satisfaction is to take a break from daily work from time to time and explore new things, cities and countries. Okay. I would say here, firstly, one of the main criteria for happiness is to take a break from daily work from time to time and explore new cities and countries, because we're talking specifically about travel here. Things is very general. Okay, so I'd take that one out and just stick with cities and countries. Various studies have reported that this has a positive effect on depression and is essential to our psychological health. I would say that we could group all of this into mental health. So various studies have reported that this has a positive effect on mental health. Okay. Secondly, travelling contributes to tourism, which is a major source of a state's income. This is due to the fact that tourists spend money on facilities such as hotels and restaurants. For instance, 20% of Israel's GNP is solely from tourism. Therefore, travelling has a positive impact on both individuals and the government's economics. Okay, good, well done. Good. On the other hand, however, there are also some negative aspects to travelling. Good, nice transition there into the negative sides. One problem is that travelling involves accelerated use of transportation. I would say increased use of transportation, which in turn, which in turn has a negative effect on the environment in terms of greenhouse emissions. I would say in terms of harmful emissions, okay, planes, railways and private vehicles. So planes, trains and private vehicles release carbon dioxide, because the railway itself doesn't release carbon dioxide, but it's the train that does, among other gases, which pollute the air and destroy the ozone layer. Good. Another obvious issue is that a journey may not always be as satisfactory as people would like it to be. Good. Sometimes people spend time, effort and money to plan their perfect trip, just to discover later that it was not what they had expected. Great, well done. Some difficult grammar there, but you've handled it really well. Well done. Many things can go wrong during the trip in terms of facilities availability, unplanned delays and weather conditions. All of the above, I would say all of the above has to be taken into account prior to starting a journey. Okay, well done. Good. So it's interesting that in both paragraphs there you've included 2 points in each, which is good. Sometimes when students do this, we say that it can cause problems, because it means that you're looking at 2 points generally instead of 1 point specifically. But I think you've done it well here. So you've mentioned about mental health and tourism in the first one, okay? But I think the fact that you've grouped it as benefits, so benefits on the individual and on society, that it works there. And then the second one, so increased emissions and also problems when travelling. Okay, good. I would possibly make it slightly clearer in this second one by saying that and there are some negative aspects. One problem is travelling. So I would say here that one problem is that the travelling itself causes increased emissions. Okay, and then to link this, I would say the travel can also be a problem because people spend time, effort and money to plan their perfect trip, but there can be delays, bad weather conditions, etc. So I would say take this paragraph as in terms of travel, so the emissions from the travel, and then also problems with travel, and that way that paragraph will then be consistent. Okay, so that you're talking about the emissions from travelling, but also then delays to travelling, impact of weather conditions, etc., possible breakdowns, things like that. Okay, so I would stick with the line on travel here, so possibly take out availability of facilities and keep along the theme of travel there. But yeah, good. In conclusion, while the concept of travelling is in most cases, beneficial to people and the state, so typo there, it may, lowercase, may also lead to increased pollution and dissatisfaction from unfulfilled expectations. It is predicted that in the future the humanity will be able to resolve the issues above. Okay, I would just say that your conclusion here is missing your own opinion. Okay, so you've got the bit about the future, which is good, but I would just say that between those two sentences, so this one and this one, that it would be more natural here to put in your opinion as well. So what do you think about travel? Do you think that it's good in terms of your mental health and so on, or are the levels of pollution and the issues outweighing that? Okay, so just put in another sentence in between to give your opinion about that would just add to that conclusion that little bit more. But yes, very well done. Good piece of writing. Like I said, I like the way that you've handled in your paragraphs, dealing with more than one issue, but you've done it in a way that means that you are looking at it in a lot of detail, which is good. In terms of this second paragraph, I would stick with the theme of transport, but use two different issues with transport. So the first one being emissions, the second one being delays, weather conditions, etc., which would impact transport itself. Okay, but well done. Two great pieces of writing as always, so great work. Well done.